Despite the fact that horror movie monsters have fascinated moviegoers since the early days of cinema, there are plenty of intriguing beasties that the horror community is unaware of. Even though the behemoths on this list are innovative, awe-inspiring, and downright terrifying, they never made much of a splash for one reason or the other. Awesome critters like Canker Man, Alligator Girl, and the Obsidian Butterfly never got their due, despite the fact that they're guaranteed to leave spines tingling, pulses racing, and pants well and truly soiled. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture here with 9 awesome horror monsters you've never heard of. Number 9. The Brain in the Brain. The brain centers around a mind-controlling alien that intends to take over the world and eats a lot of people. Based on that uncreative premise, it's no surprise this schlocky creature feature is terrible. The editing is choppy, the pacing is slow, the characters are one-dimensional, and the acting makes the cast of Troll 2 look Oscar-worthy. Also, the brain puns like food for thought and mind over matter is cringe-inducing. Despite the dumb concept and laughable execution, the titular villain is a lot of fun. The way the brain grins at his victims as it chases them is truly frightening. The only time the ensemble looks like they're acting is while in the presence of this Krang-like menace. The brain doesn't appear much, but he makes one hell of an impression when he shows up. Since he can invade his victims' minds, the brain's grinning face can pop onto the screen with no warning, which is effectively startling. The brain is effortlessly scary, so it's a shame the insidious orb didn't feature in a better movie. If he did, he could have become a horror monster icon. Number 8. Liak in Mystics in Bali. When an Indonesian studio put together a monster flick called Mystics in Bali, it incorporated elements from a hugely recognized creature in the nation's culture, the Liak. In the opening, a woman called Kathy is transformed into a Liak by a wicked witch. During the day, Kathy seems relatively normal, but at night her head, intestines, lungs and spine detach from her body and float around the area preying on the blood of newborns. Even though Mystics in Bali has surreal imagery from start to finish, nothing is as bizarre as watching a hovering head with its guts hanging out scouting for babies. Some of the visuals in the film are dated, but the Liak looks far better than it should, considering the film was made in 1981 on a micro-budget by a company with no experience with special effects. The idea of a killer head might seem a bit silly, but the Liak is still one of the most unique movie monsters ever. Number 7. The Tunneler in the Puppet Master series. Puppet Master has spawned a number of sequels, spin-offs, a crossover, a reboot, comics and video games. Nevertheless, the franchise hasn't really crackled into the mainstream, so discussions surrounding it have largely been confined to horror communities. This is a pity, since Puppet Master has plenty of great villains, especially the Tunneler. This evil doll has a power drill fused to his skull, allowing him to burrow through anything or anyone with ease. Despite his diminutive size, the menacing marionette is a nasty piece of work. By charging into his victim's foot, the Tunneler can shred their ankle to pieces, making it impossible for them to run away from him or his figurine friends. If anyone nearby is lying down or asleep, the Tunneler leaps into action and skewers their face. Also, the way the Tunneler kills Joey in Curse of the Puppet Master by drilling his you-know-what has to be the most memorable and unnerving kill in the whole series. Despite being murdered and dissected in the second installment, the Tunneler was too popular to stay dead. As a result, he returned in the follow-up and has appeared in nearly every Puppet Master movie since. Number 6. Hungry Beast in TerraVision. In TerraVision, Sherman Putterman's dad sets up a satellite dish so that his family can watch private channels for free. The Puttermans get more than they could have bargained for when the dish picks up a signal from the planet Pluton, causing an alien called the Hungry Beast to appear in their house. Sherman is the only person who can see the beastie, so he's dismissed when he tells his family a space monster is killing everybody. TerraVision may not be a great film, but the Hungry Beast looks remarkable. With its slimy skin, asymmetrical body shape, bulbous eyes, and rows of serrated teeth, it's clear the filmmakers went all out. Also, the Hungry Beast takes a page out of Jason Voorhees' book, since it shows tremendous variety in how it disposes of its prey. Rather than just eating everyone, it crushes the head of one person while filling another's body with acid. Death sequences like these are extra entertaining since they're always accompanied by stellar practical effects and sickening gore. Because of this, it's a thrill to see what creative method the Hungry Beast will use to slaughter his next victim. Number 5. The Stuff in the Stuff. The Stuff was a tough pitch since it revolves around killer yogurt. But the sci-fi horror comedy is more clever than it sounds. The film opens with the whole world obsessing over a new dessert called the Stuff, unaware it's a parasitic life form that mind controls its consumers. Anyone who eats the delectable dish develops an overpowering impulse to eat more, allowing the Stuff to brainwash them sooner. Not only is this a creative tactic to seize control over humanity, the Stuff is a deadly adversary since it has no obvious weak point. Seriously, how do you kill yogurt? The film has some surprisingly impressive special effects, especially during the scenes where the Stuff moves around or devours its hosts from the inside out. It may not be a masterpiece, but the Stuff must be commended for making a dumb idea work so well. Number 4. Grabbers in Grabbers. In Grabbers, inhabitants of an island discover the area has been invaded by aquatic aliens with a craving for human flesh. When the locals discover the extraterrestrials are allergic to alcohol, they realize the only way to survive is to get drunk. This solution in itself creates a dilemma, since the people find it tricky to coordinate an attack while being completely hammered. Because of the silly premise, it's obvious Grabbers doesn't take itself too seriously. As a result, it wouldn't be surprising if the filmmakers put little effort into the critters' design, especially with the film's shoestring budget. But not only do the blood-sucking cephalopods look fantastic, they're genuinely menacing. With the body of an octopus and the mouth of a leech, these space mollusks look like the stuff of nightmares. Even though the Grabbers could have been depicted as a mere punchline, the movie makes them come across as a very real threat. They'd fit right in at home in a more serious horror flick for sure. Number 3. Canker Man in Before I Wake. In Before I Wake, Jesse and Mark adopt an orphan called Cody who has the power to will his dreams into existence. When Jesse realizes Cody can use his ability to recreate her deceased son, she sees his ability as a blessing. However, Jesse and Mark don't realize Cody has a recurring nightmare where he's tormented by a mysterious figure called the Canker Man. Because this entity embodies his subconscious fears, it lashes out at anyone Cody believes wishes him harm. Without meaning to, Cody summons the Canker Man into being, which leads to the death of his stepfather and a school bully. When Jesse lashes out at Cody for creating the Canker Man, it intensifies his insecurities, making the nightmarish monster stronger. Although the Canker Man's skeletal and gnarled design is creepy, the concept itself is more unsettling. The idea that an innocent child could conjure a malevolent force, not out of hate but fear, is truly horrifying. Although the big reveal of where the Canker Man came from could have robbed the creature of its mystique, its origin story makes it far more disturbing. Number 2. The Obsidian Butterfly in No One Gets Out Alive. In this Netflix exclusive, a Mexican immigrant starts having paranormal visions after she's invited into a boarding house owned by brothers Red and Becca. Over time, she learns Red has imprisoned an ancient god called the Obsidian Butterfly in a sacred box, which gives power to those who commit sacrifices in her name. After Becca ties her to the ritual slab, he releases the deity from its prison. Because this monster's introduction is dragged out for a long time, it has much to live up to, and since the box is tiny, it appears as if the entity inside will be relatively small. So when a 10-foot tall behemoth drags itself out of the little box, it's a shock to the system. But it's not just the butterfly's immense size that's alarming, but its grotesque form. Every part of the butterfly is ghastly, whether it's her floppy skin, her backwards legs, or the facial images surrounding her cape-like wings. Number 1. Pretorius Creature in From Beyond. In H.P. Lovecraft's From Beyond, Dr. Edward Pretorius builds a resonating machine which amplifies the user's pineal gland, allowing them to tap into other realities. Lusting for power and knowledge, the mad scientist uses the resonator on himself at full power, transforming him into an entity beyond comprehension. Since this film is a Lovecraft adaptation, Pretorius's monster form looks exactly how you'd expect. A pulsating, wet, tentacled grotesquerie that's guaranteed to cause many sleepless nights. Although viewers should be satisfied with this epic creature design, this is merely Pretorius' first transformation. After being exposed to the resonator, the insidious Doctor keeps evolving, causing him to take on a myriad of forms, each more freakish than the last. Even though some of these incarnations appear for a few seconds, it's apparent the special effects team put their heart and soul into all of them. The film crew went above and beyond to differentiate each of the designs by using a mix of puppetry, animatronics, and stop motion to bring them to life. From Beyond may be cheesy, but it boasts one of the most underrated movie monsters of all time. And that's everything for this list. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.